Here's the newest deluxe possum lodge. It's 16 feet by 10. He built it really sturdily by sinking treated wood into pier footings. And this is where they're going to get older here. Got a latch here. And they've just been put in here. I put the rat cage in for them. That's kind of their home. So they're going back in the box. They got this whole place. They came down for a little while and looked around, and then they're heading back into their little cardboard box. Hey guys, are you scared? Are you scared? He says, this is new. It's scary for me too. It's like sending you off to kindergarten or something, huh? Hi babies. Yeah. I got your food here, but you're going to have to come out to get it. You're going to have to come out to get it. Okay. You're going to have to come out to get it. Let me bring it in here. I still have their cat chow and some formula. And I'm going to sprinkle some corn. Now, I'm not expecting them to be eating the corn, although possums would eat the corn. But I'm more wondering if I'll attract some mice, some field mice. And they can hunt mice. I'm not going to catch mice for them. I can't do that. I can't do that. But if a mouse comes in smelling the corn, they can try to catch it, because in the wild they would be eating mice as well. You guys are gonna have to come out to eat. See, they're so spoiled, and they're so. Yeah, he'll come by me. All right, come on. I really don't handle these guys much, but they just are. They are still very tame. They still think of me as their mother. Come on, you gotta come out. Come on. Okay, so I had to bring them out so they'll eat. Now, after they eat and they learn they can walk around in here, then I'm going to just start putting the food around in different places, just throwing fruit and crickets and things into the grass. And also the cat chow, I might hide it in different places here. I'll keep using the formula as long as I have it and don't run out of it. Okay, guys. Now over here, we got some branches they can climb on. Small ones they can learn to balance on. Large ones that go all the way up to the top. This is about 8 feet tall. I might try to get some more branches in here, some bigger tree branches as well. And then this was an old house we were using for feral cats to give them some shelter, and I cleaned it out, put fresh blankets in, took the heater out, and I have a wooden ramp they can climb up if they want to try to go in there. It's a lot bigger space for these guys. So, like I said, this is 16 feet. 16 feet across all the way over there and 10 feet wide, and normally they wouldn't be out at this time of day, but I'm hoping they'll get used to me putting out the food at night in the evening and coming out, and they can spend the whole night climbing around and exploring here and getting used to being outside. These guys might weigh around, I'm going to say a little over 2 pounds right now, but I don't want to release them till they're really good sized. And we'll have to see if they get wild, because, you know, I've not been messing with them or handling them any more than I have to. And they are pretty tame. So I don't know how it's going to go with releasing them. I think if there were more of them, like a whole bunch of them, and they had each other for company, they might have not gotten so attached to me, but they hear me. If I'm not speaking and I just come into the garage, that's where they were living in a rat cage till we got this built. If they hear me even, you know, stepping quietly, they pop out and they know that I'm there and I'm going to give them food. So, see there, a little bit of wind scares them, but they'll get used to things out here. You guys, you have to get used to things out here because you're wild animals. And with all this room, where are they going? They're going back up by their little cardboard box there, because that's where they feel secure. You guys got all night. You can roam around here, and I know there's mosquitoes out. I can't help that. Oh, back into the cardboard box. They said, this is our house. We're a little nervous. A little bit nervous. Got a nice sturdy latch on there, so I'm going to put some wire through it so a raccoon can't lift it. Don't underestimate what a raccoon can do, especially if they smell food. So I'm going to get some wire and put it through there. So we'll give it a good secure twist here, so now it can't be opened from the outside by a raccoon. And I'm just going to let them be out here because they need to get used to it. And look at that. They both went back into their little cardboard box. But they'll come out and explore when it gets darker. Construction of this consists of digging 2-foot deep pier footings. You have to make them wide enough to fit a 4x4 treated pole and quickset concrete. And these are at 8-foot intervals, 8 foot on center. But you have to first start with the hardware cloth. Now into each hole goes the 4x4 treated wood poles. These are 10 foot tall, and 2 feet of them can go into the hole, or you could put 1.5 foot into the hole, and then you would have to trim off the tops. Now you're probably going to have to trim off the tops anyway if you're on ground that's not quite even. This ground down here is pretty flat, which is why we picked this area. After you set all your posts in concrete and you let it harden, and you have to run a string to make sure you're getting it really straight, and you have to make sure that each corner is 90 degrees. So you're going to have to use some tools, some straight edges, and a string as well. Maybe snap a chalk line on the ground if you can to get it straight. You're going to run these 2x6s on the outside of the 4x4 poles. Along 4 feet in, this is not a dug hole here. This is just a 2x4. If we move in again, now we've got another pole that's sunk in concrete. 4 foot on, another 2x4 that's attached here to the board at the bottom. And then on this other corner is another pier footing with the 4x4 sunk into the concrete. That's the long side. I'll show you the short side. Okay, starting here again, right where I left off. This is the back side here, the short side. We have the dug corner pole. Then we move on, and it's just a 2x4 attached right to the top of this 2x6 board that runs along the bottom. Another 2x4, and then the other corner. So you're going to do the pier footings on each corner, and you're going to have to do them in the middle, one in the middle of the long side. So, pier footing, 4 feet on, it's just a 2x4. Right in the middle of the long side is another pier footing. And 4 more feet, there's a 2x4. And the corner is another pier footing. And if you have a really heavy duty door, you want to put 2 more pier footings on each side where you're going to have the door, because you're going to have another, because you're going to have 2 more treated 4x4 poles to have a sturdy door jamb for your door. So all in all, here we've got 8 dug pier footings. Corners, 1 in the middle on each long side, and 1 on each side where the door is going to go. Okay, looking at it from the outside, then you're going to next, after you have your poles set in concrete and they're absolutely straight and they're absolutely the right distance from each other, you're going to run a 2x6 treated board all the way along the bottom. This consists of 2 of them here, and they're attached here in the middle of this treated 4x4 that's in the concrete. Now, because these 2x6s are on the outside of the poles, and you got to put this hardware cloth on, you're going to need a 2x4 to fill in the space. So once you have these attached to the 4x4 poles, you're going to have to get some treated 2x4s and attach them to the outside of the 4x4 poles to create a flat surface there so you can attach your hardware cloth. At the top, it's another bunch of 2x6s that run and are attached to the poles here, to the 4x4 poles. There's your 2x6s going along there. Now, because these 2x6s are quite long, I think they're 10 foot long, they go past right here, and this right here is a support that's not sunk in concrete. It's a 2x4 that goes up all the way and connects these 2x6 boards, and that's just a 2x4 sitting in between the 2 sunken poles. For extra support on the inside, he put a piece of 2x4 as well, to show you what that looks like. So here's the 2x6, this is a 2x4, and another piece of 2x4 to stabilize it at the bottom. Now in the center at the top, he's run a 2x4 on top of that pole all the way to the top of this pole, and then he's also attached 2x6s on either side of these 4x4 poles. Now that's the middle to make it a really strong top. He decided to shore this up. Now this is the 2x4 here, and he decided to shore it up to the 2x6 going across the top with a triangular brace. So the top consists of 2x6s. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 over there. You might want to brace it up with the 2x4s. This is a 2x4 that is not set in concrete. The 2x4, where it attaches to the 2x6, you might want to brace it up with a piece of treated 2x4. Okay, I don't know if you can see it, but the top is also covered in hardware cloth that's 4 foot wide. So you have to measure from your end to where the first 2x6 runs across, and you have to make sure it's going to be enough just to attach the 4 foot wide piece of hardware cloth to the wood on both sides. Whatever kind of screws you use, they probably should be the thinner type that have a wider thread on them, and you can put them on with a drill with a special bit and drill them in with that, or you can use a he used a rechargeable drill, and then it didn't need an electric cord, and he could just put the little bit into the screw and screw them in really quickly. You don't have to pre-drill holes that way if you're using something automatic. Now as for the wood, if you get treated wood, you don't have to paint it and you don't have to treat it with anything. In fact, if it's treated wood, you can't really treat it with anything. Nothing else is going to soak into it because it's already been treated. You could paint it, but there's really no point in painting it. Okay, on the outside you can see how the hardware cloth extends all the way, and he used these little screws with the washer on them. The washer is attached right to the screw, and that is also put on with a drill with a fitting. So the hardware cloth extends all the way across to your next board, or it's overlapped with the next piece of hardware cloth. You'll find it cheaper to buy the hardware cloth in the 100-foot roll. We got ours, I think it was at Home Depot. We ordered it online, and we bought 2 100-foot rolls, and it took that to cover this. We got about 30 feet left. And you want to get a good latch. She had this latch. We had this latch sitting around. So this is one that works this way. There's all different kinds of ways of closing it. But whatever you do, you want to make sure that it can be secured. We secure this with a piece of wire through here because raccoons can get in. Raccoons can lift latches, they can turn knobs, they can do all kinds of things. So you really have to secure it so raccoons cannot get in. I secure this by putting a double piece of wire through it and twisting it up. Here's the door. Now, maybe your door doesn't need to be this heavy duty, but he made the door out of treated 2x4s, and then a double 2x4 in the middle, another 2x4 here, and a couple of braces. See that? That's a really heavy duty door. So this door closes all the way in, and it's even with this 2x6 at the bottom. Now, we had some of these he got for free from a door where he worked, and they were throwing out the door. So he kept these big hinges. But if you have a door this heavy, you're going to have to get the really big, heavy-duty hinges. You can see how big these are. Because if you don't, your door is going to sag down and you're not going to be able to open it. Now at the bottom, you don't want the door just to close against the ground. So on this side also, we got the 2x6s running along here, and the bottom of the door sits on top of the 2x6s. Now one last thing, there's some small gaps in here. If you have a bigger animal like a cat or possum, like we're using this for these rehabilitated possums, but if you used it as a catio for your cat, you don't have to worry about that. Your cat's not going to be staying out here at night, I hope. They're going to bring them back in the house. This would work for a feral cat, though. If you have cats that are homeless but you can't bring them in the house, this would work to keep 1 or 2 feral cats, you'd want to have a heated sleeping box for winter time if you're in cold areas. You want to shade it. I bought a tarp up there. It was about $40 some at Menards. I got the heavy duty tarp, the industrial tarp, and we put that on and hooked it onto there so that half of this is shaded. If you're using it for chickens or for other pet birds, you're going to want to bury this hardware cloth, extend it down into the ground 6 inches with a trench and fill it in to prevent anything from digging under it. If you have little weasels or stoats, they can go through an opening the size of a quarter. They're really skinny. Minks can also get in and kill all your birds. So you want to make sure that nothing can dig down under here. Now in the case of our possums here, we don't have to worry about that. But there are spaces under here. And for any birds or prey animals, you would want to fill that in and bury that hardware cloth. And another look at it from the end here. So that's about it. Mostly it takes using a level, getting it all flat, keep it on flat land, and make sure that everything is straight and 90-degree angles, and that you measure it carefully. Measure it several times to make sure you're getting it right. And remember, it all depends on the width of the hardware cloth that you're using. And boy, did he build that thing to last. That thing is going to last 50 years if some storm doesn't break it up or something like that. He really built it really well. And it's got hardware cloth on it instead of chicken wire. Chicken wire is really no good to keep out predators, and chicken wire is no good because it just can be punched in pretty easily. This hardware cloth is way more expensive, but if you have chickens or anything, you might as well spend more money and do it right than to have something bad happen. So if you have chicken wire, it's easy for a coyote to bash through it if he wants to. So this was about an $800 project, and I tell you, the man of the house did it all pretty much. I was just the assistant. So I really appreciate that he has such concern for all these animals that need help sometimes.